Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. In this episode, we're heading back down to the Vic Bream Classics to review the 2024 Atomic East Gippsland Bream Classic held in Mallacoota on the 17th and 18th of August in 2024. This is another great episode. A couple of semi-regulars on the show, people wearing very cool pants. It's unreal. You're going to want to listen to it. Let's roll the intros and get straight into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right, so there's a heap of things to get through, and one thing I want to remind you of is the Bream Fishing Project Collective. So this is the subscription part of the Bream Fishing Project, where you can come in, join in a team environment. We're working on a whole group of things to get everyone's bream fishing skills a whole lot better over a period of time. So I'd really invite you to come along. You'll get early access to episodes, get to come and hang out with the crew once a month or so via Zoom, and hopefully upskill your fishing. Anyway, head over to brimfishingproject.supercast.com and join in. I will put links in the show notes and just about everywhere I can, so you should be able to find it. All right, so let's get through all the bite periods and what have you. So on the Saturday, we had 63 in the fish activity wheel, which is not too bad. Major bite period at 8:24 through to 10:54, with a minor bite period in the back end of the session at 1:29 through to 2:59. High tide was at 6:38 at 1 meter even. Low tide was at 11:47 at 0.53. Okay, and on the Sunday, they had a better day in terms of the high fishing activity, which was 77 in the fish activity wheel. Major bite period was at 9:23 through to 11:53. And the minor bite period was just after the session ended at 2:41. In terms of the tides, they had a high tide at 7:24 a.m. at 1.06, running down to a low tide at 12:41 p.m. at 0.47. All right, and in terms of the fishing, there was some good fishing on this weekend. 68 teams, which is a really great field, weighing at least one fish. 38 got a full 10 fish for the weekend. And for the winners, Bowen and Ben, from Team SeaWASP, they managed to jump from 5th on day 1 through to 1st on day 2. So how good was that? Anyway, the Sunline Best Bag went to Team SeaWASP, which was Bowen and Ben. It weighed in 5 fish for 4.650. The Eco Gear Big Bream went to Team SLH Duff Rods, Tony Kerwin and Mike Hodges, who weighed in a bream point at 1.115. And the Zip Bait Monster Mover went to Team Bring It On, Alan Lister and Josh Wilkin, who weighed in a quality bag of 2 fish for 5.5 bream, weighing 4.215, moving them 21 places up the leaderboard to 14th. The Shimano Junior Angler Prize went to Harry Marshall from Team MPW, who finished in 17th. And the Millerogue Big Flathead Prize went to Team Sidefin, who caught a flathead measuring 86. So very decent fish there and quite deserving of such a great prize. All right, and one more quick thing before we get into the fishing. Podium Marine Wraps, basically your boat, your style. Proudly supporting the Bream Fishing Project, Podium Marine Wraps specializes in custom design wraps that not only protect your boat, but also make it stand out on the water. Whether you're looking for a sleek professional look or a bold personalized design, Podium Marine Wraps delivers high-quality, durable wraps tailored to suit your needs. Elevate your boat's appearance and performance with Podium Marine Wraps, where your boat meets your style. For more information, visit podiummarinerapps.com.au. Alrighty then, let's get into the interviews. Here we go. Okay, so first up in a third position, we have Wild Wings TXD. They dropped 5 fish for 3.895. Backed it up on the Sunday with a slightly bigger bag of 5 fish for 4.025, giving them a total bag of 7.920 and third place with me I have Bogdan Zizu. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Good to be back.
Mate, I think it's about 12 months since we spoke. I think it was maybe the grand final?
No, it was before the grand final. We're close on the grand final. I missed out on that one. I got fifth, but it was the regular season, and I think it was off some Mallacoota as well.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh, well, mate, fifth is good in a grand final. Yeah, it's good to have a chat with you again. All right. So, mate, Mallacoota, so great location. Tell me, did you get a chance to get down there and have a pre-fish before leading into this event?
Yes, I was very lucky that I was able to take to have a pre-fish not only 2 weeks earlier, but also on the Friday. So the 2 weeks beforehand, I was up alone. I went there across there on my own, but it was that time of year when the fish was stacked up in the river. They were breeding mode. So found quite a large, schools everywhere up around Gypsy Point. So I left those fish alone, headed down to the bottom lakes, top and bottom lake. Found fish pretty much spread out everywhere, but I had 3 or 4 spots where the fish were a little bit bigger. The bottom lake, I was very excited to find a massive patch of extremely large fish, everything over a kilo. My fingers crossed that they'll be there 2 weeks from that day, but unfortunately it didn't pan out. But it wasn't too big, but all the other spots were still active 2 weeks later.
And was there a pattern in what they were taking?
Yes, it was a fairly deep bite, but not all of it. It was mostly a deep bite. I was fishing mainly plastics, the occasional vibe, but mostly plastics. Occasionally I would hit the edges in the top lake. It was 1 or 2 spots that I had up there. Fish was slightly better average than they were up on the river, but the numbers were huge numbers up around Gypsy Point.
Right. Sounds fun. So tell us about comp day. Tell us about how your Saturday went. Like, you got a pretty decent bag.
Well, the fish were actually tiny compared to what we're used to at Mallacoota, but it was a numbers game for pretty much everyone, I think. It's just picking through the smaller ones. So the plan was both Saturday and Sunday, head straight up to the river, hit those straight up Gypsy Point up the river, hit those schooling fish, get an early bag, which we did. We probably had it within, minutes. And then the plan was to upgrade slowly. We're talking tiny little upgrades, like half centimeter upgrade all morning. So by late morning, when it was time to think about heading back, we decided to stop at the other spots in the top lake and the bottom lake, and picked up a couple of upgrades as we made our way back. Bag was still quite small, like you said, 3-point-something kilos, but we did what we could for that day.
Right. Same with that. What sort of pattern did you have? Were you getting them on plastics or hard bodies, or how did it look?
It was all plastic. So up the river, we're actually fishing drop-offs. If you're not familiar with the structure of the river up around Gypsy Point, if you sound around, you will actually find some mud or sandbars spread out throughout. So what we were deliberately doing is actually targeting those drop-offs from basically 30, 40 centimeters deep down to about 2.5. So we're fishing that 2.5 edge, 2.5 meter edge, and the fish were slightly better than those in the massive school that were just out in the middle. And that was the pattern for 2 days.
Okay. What sort of plastics you throwing gulps or?
The grubs. It was a combination of the Z-Mans and motor oil and bloodworm, and the dogwood bait junkies.
Okay.
Pretty much stock standard for me. Same combination.
Yeah, cool. Like we fished there on the weekend, and I know that the guys were changing their colours around a little bit. Did you find that you get them on one colour and then they'd stop biting and you go to another colour?
Every time there's a big bite on, you're getting lots and lots of bites. When things slow down, all we do is pick up another bait or another colour. Usually ends up with an immediate result.
Yeah, okay.
Get a few extra bites.
There you go. Okay. And then throughout the day, was there any, did you miss any? Was there any heartbreak?
No. It was, like I said, a day of numbers of very small upgrades, like incremental upgrades. I was talking about Mario, my fishing partner for the weekend. Very new to bream fishing. It was his second comp. It's actually the second time he's been bream fishing with lures as well. Right. So it was a really good event for him. He actually got into a few, and he actually had the biggest fish of Saturday in the bag. So he was wrapped.
Absolutely. Mate, it's great to bring someone in conditions like that, like they're, once a year sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Timed well.
Exactly. All right. So you ended up bringing back 3.895, so just under 4 kilos. Where'd that have you sitting? Do you remember?
It was just outside of the top 10. I don't recall exactly where, maybe 12. I don't know, let's say 12. And going into day 2, I didn't think we had much hope because the fish were not that big. But stuck to the plan. We did the exact same thing. And for some reason, the fish actually got bigger and bigger as the day went on.
Yeah, right.
So we stayed up there, jumping in 2 or 3 spots all day. We didn't even go back down the top of the bottom lake.
Right. So you just continued to hit the drop-offs throughout the Sunday?
Just 2 or 3 drop-offs, just jumping between them. On the way, very last cast, we stopped back at the very first spot of the day, picked up the biggest fish for the weekend. We were wrapped and whacked it away.
That's awesome. So you ended up with 4.025. What about, what were you running for lines and leaders and that sort of stuff for the weekend?
Yeah, it's again pretty much a standard Bream setup. Well, standard for me anyway. I think it's pretty much standard for a lot of people. 4 pound leader.
Yeah.
The braid is just I think it's 5 pound. It's very fine, very finesse type of braid, some Japanese Varibus. I don't even know what make it is, but it's really, really fine. It's like hair, been like hair. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The leader, 4 pound pretty much all weekend. We didn't have to go down to 3 pounds for any reason. The fish were biting. We never had to go any heavier because it was just open water.
Yeah, right. And jig heads on the grubs, what were you running there?
1/16. We didn't have to go heavier because there was no wind at all, not from what I recall. And we didn't fish shallow enough to have to go lighter. So we stuck to 1/16.
Nice. All right. All in all, it sounds like a pretty cool comp. Lots of fish, nice result. Yeah, good day. Good weekend.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. And it was a pretty good season as well, as I mentioned. It was the first time in any format that I actually got to fish every round, and we did quite well. So I was quite happy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The 2 days were enough to bring you back with 7.92 in third place. Do you remember what you got to take home for third place? Sorry.
The amount, actually, I do. I'll just turn around. It's right behind me. I still got the novelty check. 1,700 each. Oh, well, actually, put the two between the two. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Covers your costs for the weekend.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And then I assume you're well qualified for the grand final.
Yes, we actually finished second as the team of the year. A bunch of 5s, 5th place finishes and a 3rd, and we did quite well.
That's very good. Very good.
Yes. But unfortunately, I won't be able to fish the grand final because I've got work commitments, but Michael and Murray are going to step in. So
the 2 brothers.
Fingers crossed, yes.
We'll see. And it's your boat, isn't it?
They've got a boat of their own, so they'll be fishing from that. Yes.
You'll have to watch from afar, mate.
I will be watching from China, live stream.
There you go. Mate, that is awesome. All right, mate. Look, one more thing before we shoot off. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Just, the 2 brothers, Michael and Mario, because throwing them in the deep end, taking them into competitions when they don't have that much experience, and long drives, long weekends, long nights. So thank you.
Yeah, hard yards. And look, it was good to hear that they caught Mario caught a bunch of fish. Comps like that, they just don't always come around. So,
yes, that's right. It was a good start for him.
Very good. All right, mate. Well, that is brilliant. Thank you again for coming on. And hopefully I get to talk to your 2 partners after the final.
Let's hope so. Fingers crossed.
All right. Thanks, mate.
All the best.
All right. Fishing.com.au, your one-stop bream lure and tackle shop. Pick up the latest tackle, including Muscle Vibes, Cranker Crabs, OSB Bait Minnows, Z-Man Plastics, Eco Gear Lures, and Daiwa Rods, Reels, and Tackle. Same-day shipping, shop where the world champion, the Australian champion, and the current ABT champion shops. Fishing.com.au, online or in-store at shop 18/29 Kiora Road, Miranda. All right, so the best thing that's come out in a little while, or in my opinion, I guess, is the Prelure Hybrid Shrimp. So these are just in stock as we stand, so get them while they're hot. They have 9 different colors, so including white tiger, river prawn, motor oil shrimp, green tiger, olive tiger, Candice shrimp, pearl shrimp, olive, and pink nipper. Now, I have done a talk with Greg Reed, and these things seem amazing. At 5.1 grams, 58 millimeters, slow sinking, and size 14 decoy hooks. These things are awesome. The little replaceable legs on these, they just look like prawns legs doing their thing. So if it's something you're interested, then get onto these. I think they're going to be, they have the potential to be a game changer. So I guess time will tell. Anyway, fishing.com.au. Rightio. So up next in second place, I have a Team Tornado. I have Team Tornado dropping 5 fish for 4.22 on the Saturday, backing it up with the Sunday with 5 fish for 3.93, giving them a total of just over 8 kilos at 8.150. And second place, with me, I have Michael Hunt. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Mate, nice little comp there for you at Kuta, second place, which is a pretty lovely result, I reckon.
Yeah, a little bit surprised with the result, to be honest. I didn't really expect to do what I did, but it happened, so you take with what comes. So, no, it was a good couple of days on the water.
Definitely. All right, so let's roll back through your pre-fish. Did you get a chance to have a look around before the comp?
I didn't go to Kuta because it's 10 hours away, so basically I've got to rely on the pre-fish, which is a normal run for me. I've sort of launched down the bottom and hit my normal spots. So I think we got on the water a little bit late, but that was okay. So we went up Double Creek for a look. I've had a lot of success up there in deep with chubbies on the edge with the old gulp prawns. Didn't turn a reel, which was a bit surprising because I was there in February and caught some good quality fish. So that bank sort of got cancelled out. So we sort of had a quick chat. We went down to Fairhaven, sort of down the back. There's some rock edges. I like to throw Hurricane Twitch 50s and shallow hards to hit that. Nothing. So I was a little bit concerned. Then we sort of moved in some deep water at the back of the sands. And then that was about 10:30, I think. And we basically hit fish straight away in 3.5 meters of water.
All right. So that means you had a bit of a plan leading into comp day.
Yeah, well, I wasn't confident with it because I fished it 6-7 years ago and it was very hit and miss. But we caught fish there on different styles of lures. So gulp, Rapala, Crush Cities, and I think I got one on a Lucky Craft Tango Bevy shad on the shallows coming up sort of thing. So that was okay. So that gave us a bank, I guess. It wasn't a good bank because they weren't big fish. So then I said to Rhett, we'll move to where I fished the grand final with Adam Brown back in November, December last year, and just to have a look, which there wasn't as much water as last year, which I was a little bit concerned about. And all the boys said you won't be able to get on there. So basically engine up, electric just in the water, and I drifted the bank in, 200-300 mils of water, which was a bit risky, but I had shorts on to get out. But we did the bank, so but no hits, which was really disappointing. But yeah, that's the way fishing goes, I guess. Like you do banks, there's no fish. So
fair enough. All right, but you had a bit of a plan.
Yeah, I was happy even doing the drift sort of thing, Andrew. Like we moved out, we got to the end of the drift and we're in some darker water. It was still shallow. Then I said, they've got to be here. They just can't not be here because there was dig holes and everything else. And I cast a gulp 1/20th into the reeds and pulled it off. And I think it was about a 1.1, 1.2 yellowfin. And then I just said to Rhett, time to go. Like, I think I can get them off here, babe, or we can get them off here sort of thing, if we be slow and patient sort of thing. So, and then we hit some stuff down the front, and I think we were off the water by 12. Like, I was happy because it was yellowfin. I did it last year. We were confident in doing what we had to do.
Right. Okay. So you're all set. Early knockoff means you can get yourself prepared and what have you. Get ready.
Yeah.
All right. On the Saturday, mate, tell us how you went about catching your fish.
Well, I'm going to jump just before the Saturday morning before we even got in the water. So we were lucky to even fish the comp. I nearly burnt my boat down, basically, which we heard we had some power problems at the house we were staying at, and we could smell a burning smell. I went out Saturday morning at 6:30 and opened my hatch, and my on-bank charger had melted at the plug. And we got no idea how we didn't catch on fire. So we're very lucky to even get on the water Saturday morning.
Wow. How'd you handle it? Go and unplug it and...
Yeah, we figured out there was a join. Unfortunately, I'm not going to name brands, but there's a join in the plug to make it universal throughout the world, I guess, with American plugs, Australian plugs, and everything else. We just think that come a little bit loose, and they actually sorted it out. So I was panicking very early Saturday morning to make sure I had enough charge in the batteries. So, yeah, we were on the water. Yeah, we got on the water and we were a little bit shocked, but we went fishing. So there was enough power to go, sort of thing. So that was the start to the Saturday morning, really. So to get into the fishing, yeah, I think we come out of 34th or 5th, I think it was, day one. And I just said to Rhett, we'll go to the deep water bank because there was no wind. And I always found with the sands, you need wind. So we went across there and we had it to ourselves, which was surprising because there was some good schools in the area. I think I got the first one and Rhett got the second one, just sort of what I call size fish, so just your 29 tippers, nothing special. And I thought, we'll push up onto the sands over the back of Fairhaven side. We were rolling cranks and that, nothing really special really happened, I guess. Then I said, we'll move back out to the deep. I think it was about, 8 o'clock. And then basically we had the bag done in the next 30 minutes. They just switched. Basically on the Rapala crushed cities in motor oil, 1/12 jig head. And it was basically the same as what I do on the sand, just dead stick and giving a bit of a work. And they were just drilling it. We were quite surprised. Because it wasn't really that hot there for the first 5-10 minutes. It was dead. And they just decided to switch, which was good for us because we had the bag and the pressure comes off, really. So it wasn't a great bag. It was I weighed them and started putting weights in on my scale. I think it was like 2.9, 3 kilos. It wasn't nothing special. So, but then we decided to make the move out into the sands, basically. And we did the run. And there was boats in the area and we did the run and I forgot my sunglasses. I left them in the ute down at the town ramp, so I couldn't even see flashes or nothing, which was my own fault. And we went through the bank and we both frustrated, disappointed that we didn't catch any fish or had a hit, so to speak. So I said to Rhett, let's go down to the town ramp and get me sunglasses out of the ute so at least I can see a bit because it was quite bright, quite still. So we sort of just blasted down and to there, tied up. I think Rhett went and got my sunglasses. And then I was just sitting there thinking while I was waiting for him to come back. I said, well, how about we hit this sands just at the boat ramp? Well, I've known Bowen at the grand final and some kayak guys have caught good fish down there. So we just I think the second or third channel marker, come into the sands on the ocean side. I think first cast I got a 900 gram yellow.
Nice.
So I just said, well, that was worth the run, wasn't it? So it was a good kicker, basically, to what we had. We pulled hooks on 2 or 3 good ones that we saw. Rhett lost a really good fish that just, being a yeller, it just did what yellers do and, yeah, unpredictable. So then we sort of done that drift and I said, well, that was okay. I think we're up to about, 3.3, 3.4, I guess, on the scales. And I said, well, let's go back out to, I said, we got them there, yes, this time, let's go. And we went back at the top of the sand, sort of Carbathong ramp point, I guess. I don't really know my areas that well. And I think first cast, I got like a kilo fish, first cast.
Wow. So good move.
Yeah, and it was just, and like we both said, right move, right time. And I think I clunked 2 other fish in consecutive casts. And then that was basically the bag for the Saturday.
Right. And when you move, if you go back a little bit, when you moved on to the sands, were you throwing surface or gulp prawns, or what were you throwing?
No, just my good old gulp prawns. Like, for some reason, like, I've never had any success on the sands with top water. I'd love to know how a lot of people do it. I've tried it, but just gulp prawns, 3-pound leaders, 1/20th Gamakatsu round, size 2 hooks with gulp. It just seems to work for me. Like, I know last year I had to make the old Mercy run to the service station and pay the $25 a packet, but this year I made sure I had 12 packets. So I think I chewed through 9 packets for the weekend. But
Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot about last year.
yeah, I made sure I had plenty. So I wasn't going to top up the petrol store with $100 or a couple $100 if I needed those sort of packets. So yeah, so it was a good move. The Rapala scales played up on the Saturday because I think I was 3.99 on the Rapala scales when we finished. I said, we've got roughly 4 kegs, happy days. We'll be thereabouts, sort of thing. And then when I went up to build to weigh, the weight come in and I went, there's something wrong with my scales. They're 200 grams out. But you take it, basically. We were a bit shocked because they'd normally been pretty close over the years using the scales. But yeah, I was a little bit shocked that we're leading and things, and it just happened like that. So it was all good.
All good. Okay, so then on the Sunday, what were you thinking? Was you like, we'll start again, rinse and repeat, or what was
Oh, well, Saturday there was a few beverages at the house and a few nerves, and sort of me and Rhett sort of sat down by ourselves and said same run, and we both agreed on it, sort of thing. Like, we knew the better fish were on the sands, but we said let's go and get a bag and then work from there. I said I'd rather go to a school fish, try and get a bag, and then go and chase big fish. So yeah, coming out of one, we went to the back of the sands again, Fairhaven side. I think second cast, Rhett got one. I think he got one on a blade. He was mixing it up a little bit off the back of the boat. I was just casting my Rapalas and gulp. Just when I was fishing the gulp, I was still fishing them in deep water, but I was fishing more on 12ths. I think we got 2 fish. I think it was by 8:30-ish. And it was really windy, and I don't have spot lock on my boat. I've got an old cable steer sort of thing, and my Raptor doesn't hold in 3 meters of water, unfortunately. So I was more concentrating on keeping the boat on the school. There was a few more boats, not on us, but in the area, and I was watching them pull fish. And I'm going, what am I doing different today from yesterday? So you start to try and process what you're doing different. I think it was about 9 o'clock, 9:30. I said to Rhett, this just doesn't feel right. They're not here. I think we should go to the sand. Like, I got the kickers or the carbathong and up on the point where most of the guys know where I fish, and first cast of the 1.1.
Wow.
Oh, I basically pulled in, come into about 2.2 meters, got to about 1.8, dropped the Raptor, and we were fishing like darker areas, not pure sand, just with a bit of colour or holes sort of thing, and I cast it, but it was first cast, and yeah, clunk, and that was the big one of the day basically for us.
That was the big one of the comp, wasn't it?
No, because my scales played up the second day, so they were weighing too heavy, sort of thing. But on my scales, it said like 1.1 or something. So I think Big Bream was 1.3, I think, at the end. But so yeah, first cast on the sands, clunk, and then the next 2-3 casts, the bag was done.
Right.
And then it was sort of, well, we had a couple of 29s and said we got to get rid of those, which we had our chances. So in our Sunday bag, we had a couple of like 31, 32 tippers, sort of thing that sort of hurt. Well, we had 3 Kraken fish, all come off the sands. But yeah, I just couldn't get rid of what I call squeakers, sort of thing. I did hook into, well, I called it for a flathead. Basically, it was a good hit, and then it wasn't really doing much, like a yellowfin. And I said to Rhett, he goes, net. And I said, I think it's a big lizard. And then next thing, it just peeled, and there was no shakes like a flathead. And unfortunately, I pulled hooks on that. But those things sort of happen when you're out in the water because you're sort of, you make mistakes. Like you got to really, one thing I've learned since Cooter is take every fish on its merit sort of thing and get it in and make sure it is a flathead or it is a brim, because it was a good yellowfin if the way it ran. I just called it for a flatty and fought it a little bit too hard. So,
oh no, but it happens.
Yeah.
And then was that it for the day? Was that the end of your bag?
Oh, well, we made some runs. So we moved back down to the bottom near the near the town ramp. We did pull one off it. So we got rid of the stretch 29, but that was one of the better fish of the three I was just saying about. But yeah, then we kept going back to sands and it just got really dead. And we probably stayed there maybe too long. But like we both said, we should just stay here because yellowfin, they just come through sort of thing. But then, I just said, we did go up Double Arm for a look the last hour of the day. But there was just nothing. Where we could have stayed on the sand for nothing as well. And it's just that bit of luck you need when you're out fishing, really. Like, didn't really have any other banks that I sort of caught fish on. So I just stuck with those 3 or 4 zones and just hopefully one fired, but nothing really fired after about 12 o'clock. I didn't think we even put even an undersized brim in the well or on the boat sort of thing. Like, it was just dead.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, you still were able to come in second place, which was pretty awesome. Were you 500 and something grams off top spot? So would it, like we've said, I think before we started, would that have been a decent upgrade to take the winning place?
Yeah, look, even when I went up to Bill, he said you sort of backed it up, and I said I'm light. I knew I was probably 2 better fish. The one I lost, if I landed, it would have been close. But I still think I needed to get rid of that last 31 tipper for, say, a 35. So I really need 2 more fish to really push Bowen and Ben.
Yeah, never mind, mate. Either way, a pretty good result for you guys. So just before we move off in the fishing, basically, I think you said you're running a 3-pound leader?
Yeah, so I'm just running Daiwa 3-pound leader. Gamakatsu 120th. I've been using Gamakatsu jig head for the last 10 years, I think, especially on gulp. I just like the hooks. I know other companies do gamma hooks, but for some reason it's just a confidence thing with them. So yeah, running that, what am I running? 14-pound braid, 2,000 Luvius on a Miller Grub Freak, basically, to do what I do. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. So pretty decent setup. All right. Was there anything else we should cover before we move off the fishing?
No, I don't think there really is. It was just a good weekend. Like we always travel together. It's always the Warrnambool crew. We're pretty tight, and we all got each other's backs. If there's problems, issues, and that, it's always a good weekend away. Just traveling together and just living, really. So yeah.
Yeah, very good. All right. For second place in this one, do you remember what you got to take home?
That's right. 2.5 between us, I think it was, because I was at Rhett's shed 2 weeks ago when I was staying there to go to Marla. I think it was 2.5. So yeah, that's off. Yeah. So the sign's up on Rhett's shed, which in his drinking shed, which is great.
Fantastic. All right, mate. So one last thing before we shoot off. Is there anyone or any people you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Just the Warrnambool crew. They're always good. They're always good for support. Most of all the Vic Bream guys, they're a great bunch of blokes, like always up for a chat and supportive, and wife, Rhett, just everyone, like their little crew. Yeah. So just them really. So yeah.
Fantastic. All right, mate. We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and yeah, hopefully we get to talk to you again in about a month or so.
Yeah, that'll be good.
All right, very good.
Maybe.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
All right, if you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to make some upgrades to your existing kayak, or possibly looking at fishing kayak fishing tournaments, then HWS is the place to go. They have a full range of Hobie kayaks, stock the latest kayak accessories, and are really dialed in when it comes to the best kayak fishing setup for the casual fisher and the tournament angler. hws.com.au, online or in store at Shop 3/638 Pacific Highway, Belmont. James offers free delivery on Hobie kayaks across all Greater Sydney, Central Coast and Hunter. So look, there is a couple of things going on at the moment. They've got the passports in the 10.5 and 12-foot models for sale under $2,000. Now, there's a couple of bonuses going on with these, but you have to get in contact with HWS to find out exactly what's going on. Another thing to keep your eye out in the coming weeks, we are just rolling in to the Hobie Grand Final, so they are going to have some tournament boats for sale, so you keep your eyes out for those. These things are always decked out with just about everything you can imagine. They've been used for 3 or 4 days, so they're virtually new, and you're going to get them at a great price. So reach out to hws.com.au. Okay, so up next in first place, we have Team SeaWASPs. They dropped 5 fish for 4.015 on the Saturday, backed it up with Big Bag for the competition with 5 fish for 4.650, giving them a total of 8.665 and the win. And Bowen was wearing the best pants ever. I've got Bowen Joyner and Ben Hanscom. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Deethy.
Hey, Andrew. Thank you.
No worries at all. Like I said, mate, it did give me a lot of pleasure to see the Bream Fishing Project one-of-a-kind pants on stage or down there for the photos and what have you.
They got some good mojo, that's for sure.
Definitely. Take a win in them. How cool is that?
Bloody beautiful.
All right, let's get on to the fishing because you guys had another great comp. You guys are on fire for Mallacoota. You got it dialed in a little bit.
Fish it enough that you'd have to hope so anyway.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Spent quite a few hours on that waterway, kind of in tune with them.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Well, it definitely shows. All right, well, let's roll into pre-fishing. What did you guys do in terms of scoping it out?
So I think pre-fish from memory is we had a plan to fish up high and fish in the top lake the whole weekend. And we went up there and from memory, it was pretty dismal. Like we got fish, but there was just nothing big, no decent sort of size or numbers that we could find. And we were sort of sitting there shaking our heads going, oh God, what's going on? Like these fish should be here and they weren't here. So we're sort of scratching our heads at that a bit. And then we come down the bottom lake later in the sort of pre-fish and found a couple of nice little runs that we wanted to, or that we sort of had consistent fish. I think we landed 2 and had a few rises on top water at a sort of a little out of the way spot that we sort of went, oh, well, this will do us for a start. Like there's better fish here. So we had a pretty set plan of one spot to go. And then after that, we sort of,
We pretty much committed to the bottom lake after our pre-fish.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, changed it up. We found a few spots where we found some decent fish deep, just picked off 1 or 2 here and there. And then we found the spot that we started each day as well. So,
okay, very cool. All right, well, let's roll into the Saturday because you got a pretty decent bag on the Saturday. Tell us how it went and how you went about catching them.
So we had obviously a top water fishing in mind. So we went straight over to this bank. It was far enough out of the way of the rest of the field. We had a massive field, so we were sort of trying to find something that wouldn't get the pressure that everywhere else got for the weekend. And this one little edge, I guess, is so obvious that it's overlooked. And so we went straight in there. I think it was in the first 2 or 3 casts, we put one in straight away. It wasn't a massive fish, but it was a decent one. And then I think pretty quickly after that, we put another, I think it was one of the biggest fish for the bag on day 1 in on a top water within the first sort of 20 minutes, I guess.
Nice.
And then that followed by a third, and that was that first run that we did on it. Whilst we were fishing there on that first day, we seen a lot of fish hanging a bit wider, And we decided on the way back down to do this drift again. We just drift out a bit deep and see if we pluck these deeper fish just with soft plastics. So we just did one sort of quick pass out deep and pulled two more pretty quickly. So we had our bag, what did you say, Ben, by 9:30?
Yeah, yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got them in a deeper bite. What sort of plastics were you throwing at them?
Oh, it was a bit of everything, really, to get them. We got a couple more out of it as well. We'll throw in Munro's paddle tails, 275 paddle tails in swarf. I think Ben had on the Munro's paddle grub in swarf for a while. Then he switched to Hurricane Sprats. They got some good bites out there as well. And then just a mixture of just random grub tails and more, just a bit of everything. There wasn't really, I guess, one standout out there. It was sort of just all of our favourites, and just that was just working.
When you got, every now and again, there was a few tailor coming past as well. So every time you got snipped, you'd sort of change it up a little bit as well.
Right. In that deeper area, what do you fish at, like 2 to 3 meters, or how'd that look?
I think it was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the drop off was 2.5, and then it come out to 3.5 on those wider fish. But I think from memory, the wider fish had a lot of tailor and massive salmon on them, so they weren't too fun. So we tried to stay away from them.
It's about as deep as we fish too. It's sort of, even that depth's sort of a bit monotonous.
Yeah, right. In terms of jig heads and stuff, what were you running?
Pretty much just 12ths out there. Few 8. I think we may have went to 1/8 at one stage out there, but sort of 12ths. I think we threw a few like lighter stuff like 16ths and stuff as well, mainly just because we had them tied on for the edges. But yeah, 12ths are a pretty comfortable sort of weight for out there.
Yeah, nice. All right. So at this point, I'm assuming it's still pretty much mid-morning. How'd you go for the rest of the day?
So we went away from there. We went around to Allen's Head, which is the back of the bottom lake. And we just sort of did a couple of drifts through there, tried throwing surface on the edge, trying to get a reaction bite. Didn't really happen. We could see the odd fish here and there, but still we could see them out wide. They just wouldn't really eat there. Was that when we went over to that other edge, or did we go back? Where'd we go from there?
I think we went back to the first edge we started, and then just couldn't get size out of the fish that were there. So then I think we ended up back out around the 8 foot then. I don't think we went over to that other.
Did we fish that tea tree edge, or was that where we were going to fish but there was a boat on it?
No, we were going to fish that and there was a boat there, so we sort of just made a plan on the run.
Yeah.
And, oh, no, that's right. We went down to Old Mallacoota and did a run right down the back of there, and you got a nice one.
Yeah, that was on that deeper edge.
Just on a deeper edge there off the tea tree, but we only got one run.
Similar to what we were doing in the morning after we'd turned and come off the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same deal. You're just still fishing plastics?
Yeah. It's sort of like just a bit of a run and gun, jump around a few other, I guess, edges that not necessarily we pre-fish, but we just had a assumption that there'd be fish there.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting for the wind to come through as well. There was a bit of wind forecast for each day, and we're sort of just trying to bide our time for that later wind because we knew a few edges would fire a bit better in that. So we just sort of pecked around and plucked a fish here, plucked a fish there. Nothing serious, but there was a lot of fish there that were like small upgrades, like 20, 30 gram upgrades. And I'd hate to think how many we caught that were like just right on for an upgrade, or you're and ahhing about if it was or not.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised when I saw your name come up. I thought, all right, that you'd be on the big bents again, but obviously not for this comp.
No. The system's been fishing a little bit different since Christmas. We had a lot of rain down at Coota, literally the week after the grand final last year. It changed the joint up a lot. A lot of the weed in the joint has died off. So there's a lot of the edges are more barren. There's not as much cover for the fish. I don't reckon they're, I don't know. They're still eating bent. Like, depends on the day. Some days they do, some days they don't. But it's just been a lot harder to get them to commit to that bigger bent. Plus, the water was a lot colder too. It was August or whenever it was, July. generally you got to do a slow presentation with the bent that time of year to get them to commit.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. So that pretty much rounded out your day. Is that fair?
Oh, we had one, like once that wind come up, I think from like 12 o'clock, we pushed out to one of the really exposed edges and had a pretty silly plastic bite, like just really light plastics, hurricane sprats and Munro swarfies, just real light jig heads, pitching them up onto the edge it's like this cockleweed sort of stuff there. And they were all just up in their feed, and it was unreal. It was fish after fish really for the last 2 hours. And that was sort of what gave us that sort of little bit extra. I think we were at 3.5 from our scales coming in to that sort of period. And then we just managed to chip away and chip away and chip away and slowly upgrade these fish pretty much right up till we had to come in. I think we had like 5 minutes to go and we're still getting double hookups and stuff. It was pretty.
I think there was only, I think one fish that we went to that bank with was left in the live well, or maybe two.
Right.
They were all pretty much upgraded. I think the big one that we got first was about the only one that stayed in there at the end. It all happened on that bank.
Wow. So you basically rotated your whole bag at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
It was good fishing, really good fishing.
Yeah, nice. All right. So you went back to the weigh-in, you dropped just over 4 kilos. Where were you guys sitting overnight? Do you remember?
I think we were fifth.
Yeah, it was fifth or fourth, one of the two. Might have been equal fifth, were we? Or equal fourth?
Something like that. It was well within the sort of
couple 100 grams behind, which we were quite surprised about.
Yeah, okay. All right. So then Sunday, tell us about, where'd you start on Sunday? Did you go back to that last spot?
Yeah, so we went back to the same spot. It was a howling sou'wester first thing Sunday morning.
Lovely.
So we went to that spot. It was kind of a little bit protected, so we could still pretty much rinse and repeat of the day before, just throwing bents up in shallow, trying to bring the fish out. Took a little bit longer to get our bag. We sort of had to, I think we switch baited a couple too, didn't we?
Yeah, got a couple, me pulling the bent, you throwing a plastic in behind them. You got one nice doing that.
I think which ended up being one of the fish, good ones was that. Then we got a couple more along that bank, and same thing, we pushed out a little bit wider, caught some more fish out deep, and then we sort of started hitting more exposed edges after that. I think we went back to that edge we hit at the end of the day before, and Bowen picked up the biggest fish in our bag, which was over 1 kilo, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah.
That big black.
Yep. It was a nice fish.
Yeah, but there wasn't quite as many fish on that bank. I think we only picked up 2 or 3 and maybe one upgrade, which was that big one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think from there, that was when we went right down the back, wasn't it?
Yeah, we went for one more run back down into sort of that first spot from memory. And then we were just sort of waiting. We knew there was going to be a big sou'wester push. And there was one bank in the lake that I'd sort of wanted to fish all weekend, but it was just, there was so many boats on it. It was like, or if anyone knows, down towards the girls' school, down towards Marshmead, just that whole arm, there was a lot of fish down there. There was a lot of big fish too coming in, like before the pre-fish ban. There was a lot of big fish there. And they had to be there somewhere, but there was just too many boats for us to warrant going over there. But once that sou'wester sort of pushed up, a lot of boats left it, and there was one sort of run that I've always done well on in the past there that was sort of it just looked too good not to want to go over and have a fish on it. And we went straight over there. I think we'll throw on outback brimmerbait mussels, and that started us off. I think I plucked one real nice one on that, and then a couple of smaller fish and one good one, which gave us
on straight through too, which he absolutely loves.
First time running straight through, and it was in a comp.
In a comp, mind you.
We probably really needed to be serious about something, but why not?
Yeah.
So I was just playing with that. Worked surprisingly well and caught a few fish, even if I thought I'd lost the fish half the time because of the stretch.
Mm.
It was a good bit of lighthearted fun, even though it was probably a bit serious. We didn't really take it that seriously at the time. It was pretty good.
Got some funny photos to go with it.
Yeah, a little bit of fun. And yeah, it progressed from there. We drifted out onto the flat, like right down in the back of the poles, and plucked another nice fish on a hard body. And then we just had this one run where I think we ended up.
That was where you got your flatty too that you entered in the Millerogue.
Yeah, exact same run. We just had this one run where it was just like the big fish were either pushed up there or for some reason we were just getting them. And I think we got 3 or 4 really good fish in a row and missed a couple of real big ones, got that big flatty. And from memory, I think that done us for the day. Like after that run, we kept doing it. We just couldn't get a fish any bigger than what we had. Like we spent 2-3 hours trying to find a bigger fish after that. And we caught heaps of fish, but just couldn't get bigger ones.
Yeah.
I mean, you got biggest bag for the comp, which means you obviously had pretty decent fish. One question with your straight through, were you running, was it 3 pound or 2 pound or 4 or?
Still pace. No, I think it's 4 pound straight through, but it's that bloody Odelos stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just 4 pound, and that was what he said to use because he's been using it. So I threw it on one of my reels and I had it tied onto the mast, so Bowen grabbed it and started using it.
Right, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, I mean, 4 pound, apart from the stretch, you got a fair bit of pulling power. You should get them out.
Bloody oh. You got enough on 3 pound when you're fishing cranks and stuff, so 4 pound's even better.
Yeah, we didn't have any dramas with them putting us back in. And
No.
like, down there, the reef and stuff that we're fishing anyway, it's not really, I wouldn't consider it anyway, a real harsh reef that they'd really do you on. Like maybe if you got unlucky, they get you on a little log or something, but it's not really like big sort of shape, like big rocky steps or anything where they can get you back in under. It's pretty forgiving.
Yeah, right. Right. Fair enough. Well, it sounds like you guys had a pretty great weekend, really. Lots of different lures, lots of different techniques.
Yep.
It was a good fun comp. Lots of fish caught, lots of good fish caught for us.
We had ourselves convinced on the way in that we were going to hold position. We didn't think, because we thought, well, we're doing better today. We thought everyone else would be too in this wind, but we didn't think that we'd end up where we were, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the score shows that you won comfortably and your bag was, well, it was 500 grams or 600 grams bigger, or 400 grams bigger than the closest competitor on the day. So it was a standout bag for sure.
Yeah, we were coming in, like Ben said, we're convinced that it wasn't going to be enough, but sitting there watching everyone weigh in, we're just sort of going, holy, like, it did fish tough today.
Yeah. Out of all the techniques, was there any one stand out?
Definitely light soft plastics, like really light soft plastics, just pitch them out in the wind, fish them fairly fast, but they definitely sort of got our good fish. And obviously bents in the morning, that was pretty consistent. We got a lot of fish on bents as well.
Yeah.
Right. With your plastic, so you're talking sprouts, you're talking on worm hooks or just like 140th, 128?
I think it was 16ths and 20ths, like a little bit heavy. With the Munros, the Swarfies, they were definitely on a 16th. And then I think we varied when we were fishing the sprats between 16ths, 20ths, and I think I may have gone to 28th at one stage as well.
Usually hidden weight too.
Yep, hidden weight. But yeah, no worm hook or anything. You're fishing out on pretty open stuff, so no need to sort of limit, or not limit, but compromise your hookup rate at all.
100%. All right. Is there anything that we should touch on about the fishing? Is there anything we've missed?
No, not really. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, cool. I did, look, random question. Did you guys learn anything over the weekend? Was there anything that we went, oh, wow, that's different?
I wouldn't say different, but I know definitely with the mussels, got it for myself anyway, got a lot more confidence with using them because I coming into that comp, especially I hadn't really fished them too much. But it's probably not really a good thing to be doing, is fishing something that you don't know much about in a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, so we had one tied on, and I know Benny's fished them a fair bit, and a couple of our mates have fished them quite a lot. And it was just trying to find something that we could get 1 or 2 bigger fish on, and ended up being quite successful.
Yeah, right.
So that was a good learning thing sort of on my behalf that I quite enjoyed and was cool. It was like, okay, this is cool. This is actually committing to fish in our bag. That was very interesting to sort of pick up and learn, I guess, when you needed to learn it, like when you needed to catch fish. You weren't being social, so you had to focus and be committed to it.
Yeah, nice. Good to hear that it worked.
Yeah, I'll put it this way, I've gone out and brought quite a numerous amount of them now. No straight through, though. I need more convincing on the straight through.
Come on, mate. And don't worry about the 4 pound, mate. Go to 3 pound or 2 pound.
You can't go hard enough on fish. That's the problem, Deeth.
I don't know. They still bust you off in the jetties on the 4 pound.
Yeah, but the day when it's tough, you want the 2 pound on the boat when you go. We can't catch them. Just go to 2 pound. Then you're not worried about your leader.
Yeah.
I'd be worried about them biting you off in Mallacoota. That's the only problem.
Yeah, that's true.
They're very notorious fish for biting you off down here. I don't know if anyone else experiences it. Maybe some of the listeners might, but for me personally, Mallacoota bream, a lot of them have really sharp teeth, and even fishing 4 or 5 pound leaders, sometimes I've been bitten off. Like every couple of fish will bite you off.
Bloody yellowfin.
Yeah, yeah, big yellowfin, big curly yellows are a nasty fish.
Yeah, with big teeth, big buck teeth.
Yep, that's the ones.
Very good. All right, guys. Tell me, what did you guys get to take home for first place in this one?
So we got 4,300 to split between the two of us, which is a lot of money. So 2,150 each. We were pretty stoked with that. And then I think we got a rod each and some tackle and bits and pieces from the sponsors that sponsor the Vic Bream for the biggest bag for the weekend. We were absolutely stoked with all that. It was a surprise enough to find out we win, let alone how much it was. It was unreal.
Yeah, that's a great win, and to get a rod and what have you is even better. So
yeah, Bill's done an unreal job of getting the sponsors he has and those prize packs and like the support even with all the anglers and obviously for the main prize and all that. It's just unreal. It's really, really good to see.
Definitely. We had a chat before we hit record, and it was good to see the team winning the Millerogue Rogue prize. They were well down the list, but end up walking away with a couple of nice rods each, which was pretty awesome. It's like Steve Whitby and Philo Kelly, I think. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. All right. Last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to? And we'll start with you, Mr. Bowen.
All right. Well, firstly, I'd like to thank you for having us on, Deethy. And obviously, I'd like to thank Bill for running a great Vic Bream event. They're unreal. If anyone wants to get into their fishing tournaments, I highly suggest getting a team together and chasing a few of those around. The crew that they sort of draw is always, they're a really good crew, especially if you're new, upcoming, if you're a young angler fishing with your father or someone like that. They're unreal. Like really, really good, supportive crew to fish with and against, and it's very competitive. Like it's still a good sort of tournament basis and stuff. Also like to thank a couple of my sponsors, the guys that look after us. They to the yards, fish with some of the best gear you can. It's unreal. So I'd like to thank Millerogue, Munro Soft Plastics, Tasline, Tackle World Marimbula, and Pickles Outdoors. They've helped us out a lot, sort of, especially fishing the comps, but for quite a while now. And yeah, can't thank them enough. Their gear's awesome. Thoroughly trust it. Recommend it to everyone. And yeah, it's awesome.
Tell me about Pickles Outdoors, mate. Are they a camping shop or a tackle shop? Or
he's just a little tackle shop in Eden. Spend quite a few of my lunch breaks and stuff up there, just mucking around and talking fishing. He's got a pretty good lay of the land for Eden. Anyone wanting to fish up there, he's go in there and have a look. He's a bit out of the way, a bit unknown about, but yeah, he's awesome. Really, really good lad. Always helpful, and yeah, awesome.
And tell him Bowen sent you, hey?
Yeah, tell him I sent him. He'll probably roll his eyes and go, "Oh, not him again."
Fair enough. And did you want to add anything to that, Ben?
Yeah, I just want to thank you as well, Andrew. Everything Bowen said, he speaks very well. Thank Bowen himself for a good weekend. It was a while ago now. But yeah, we had a couple of housemates for that weekend as well. Thank those guys, our partners and that, because as usual, we're out there fishing nearly every weekend. They put up with it. So yeah, thank all those guys, family and friends, I suppose.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, the best thing you can do is go home, give all your cash to your partner. That's the best thing.
Yeah, definitely.
They get a little bit more of a smile on their face for us running away, fishing all over the place every 5 seconds. When you bring home a bit of cash, it's good.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Suddenly becomes okay.
Better than getting a clip behind the ear when you rock home late anyway.
That's it. You go home and say, look, I did really well. I won $400.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go. All right, guys, we're going to leave it there. Thank you again. Congratulations. Great round. And sounds like you had a lot of fun. So hopefully I get to speak to you again soon.
Fingers crossed. Thank you very much, Deethy.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew.
All right. Thanks, guys. Okay, so there you have it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this one. Definitely one of the highlights for me was Bowen wearing the Bream Fishing Project pants. Fantastic. Must be good karma or something to wear those pants, get out on top. How good is that? Imagine what would happen if we had got Ben a pair. Can't imagine. Anyway, in other news, I think I spoke about this maybe. Actually, the episodes have been a little bit mixed up in recording, so it might be next week's. But coming back from Kuta, I was talking to my daughter Jamie, who owns the yoga studio. So she's got a 40-day challenge going on, which I've obviously put my hand up for because I need that to get a little bit more flexible and just get a little bit healthier again. So I agreed to do that. So 40-day challenge, yoga every day, and a few other bits and pieces. So I joined in for that, and that's great. Now, the other thing that Jamie signed herself up for, so the other thing that Jamie signed up was the Ned Brockman Uncomfortable Challenge. So for Jamie, that was running 5 kilometers a day for 10 days. Okay, now me being, I don't know, it's just in my nature. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that too, except for being a bit of a bumbalada, I'm probably not going to run. So I chose to walk 5 kilometers. I couldn't do the first day because that was the day we went to Kuta. It would have been ridiculous to try and fit that in. To do the comp, drive back for 6 hours and then do an hour's worth of walking seemed a bit crazy. But I have just completed the remaining 9 days of walking every day, 5 kilometers, except for the day when Strava decided that it would convert from kilometers back to miles. So I did 8Ks that day. Yay for me. Anyway, a couple of things. So I've been doing 5Ks a day, yoga every day, minimum 15 minutes yoga, sometimes an hour, depending on what's going on. And I've got to tell you, I feel amazing. Like the difference in the way I feel and the way I move and the speed that I can walk, just 10 days, 9 days, absolutely crazy. So listen, if that's your thing, definitely get out there and go for a walk. I used to say this back in the beginning, get out and go for a walk. Get Strava on your phone. You can just record it. You don't have to have a membership or anything like that. You just record and it tells you how far you've gone. How good is that? So yeah, absolutely massive change to me. So I think you can do it. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to link Jamie's, and I think it'll still be available. I'll link Jamie's link for her fundraising for this. She didn't quite hit a mark, and I know that just a few little donations will get her right there. So hopefully that link's still available and you can donate to the Ned Brockman Challenge, the Uncomfortable Challenge, which supports homeless people in Australia. So worthy cause. Jamie will hit a goal. You'll feel good. Everyone wins. In any case, that's it. I'm going to call it there. I really appreciate you hanging around. You got to the end of the podcast. It's absolutely amazing. Anyway, I'll talk to you next week on the Bream Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.
All right. And just one final note for those who are still around. Anyone that's not joined the collective, we've put the prices have gone up. We've gone away from our initial thing. If you're still here listening to this in the next, say, 2 weeks after, and you message me, I will send you a link where you can get the original pricing. So there you go. All right. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next week.